jolt of confidence, and I think you'll see that tonight with USC.
Their largest margin of victory since a win over UC Riverside in December of 2012. That's how they begin a new season, and Julian Jacobs begins our contest tonight.
Monmouth did a great job the other night against UCLA, switching defenses, but being active, some zone, some man, doubling the ball, do a lot of different things.
Elijah Stewart, a deep pull.
He was good the other night, 14 and 10, career high in rebounds for Stewart. Hyper athletic. It's just about him figuring out how to play and being consistent offensively. Had a monster game in the Pac-12 tournament last year. See if he can continue to improve as we start this season.
This is Hornbeak inside the circle. Bit strong with his first jumper, nearly talked it through. Loose ball rebounded Jordan McLaughlin. Eyes up in transition. Here is Benny Boatwright. Bottoms.
Can really shoot it, JB. For his size, you don't see it very often, but he can step out, hit threes. Not just a good shooter, a really good shooter for his size.
Tillman on Jovanovic, back to the perimeter. Seaborn kept his toes on the floor. That should be a charge, and it is.
But just to finish on Boatwright as he takes that charge there, a true stretch four. You'll see him in a lot of pick and pop. It's a good call by the officials there. But what a weapon for Andy Enfield to have in college. You don't see it very often. A 6'10 guy that the other team has to game plan for defensively because he's such a good shooter out on the perimeter.
Textbook example of getting those heels outside the expanded restricted area as the second defender for legal guarding position and an offensive foul. Jacobs trying to turn the corner. Nice find on the wing. McLaughlin, a blistering start for USC.
Well, that's what I like about McLaughlin, too. Even though he's the true point guard and the point guard on this team, he'll play off the ball some. Jacobs can run the point, but a good shooter, McLaughlin, you saw it there.
Tillman a deep touch, gave it up, though.
Expect more out of Hornbeak tonight. Got into early foul trouble against UCLA on Friday. He's a talented player.
An offensive foul there as he got the hook out. Just as you were saying, foul trouble was an issue for the junior transfer from OU in Norman.
Is this USC playing really good off the start, or is this a hangover for Monmouth?
Elijah Stewart finally misses for Troy. Nice. Tillman running the floor.
Great find by Robinson, too. That's what they did. They forced 23 turnovers from UCLA on Friday night, and they converted at the other end. They'd get it, and they were gone down the other end of the court.
Stewart off the pick. Twice now. He's pulled up and splashed along two.
I'd forgotten since this is my first USC game of the season, but the lift that Elijah Stewart gets on his jumper is much more than most players. I mean, his release point for a guy his size is so much higher because he gets so high off the floor on his jumper.
You mentioned it, but pulling that momentum through from the end of last season when he was outstanding. Finished 2015 averaging 13 points, better than 4 rebounds over USC's final 8. A lot of that, as you mentioned, against ASU in Vegas.
Well, the talent's there, and that's why I said it's about figuring it out on a consistent basis.
Josh James is into the lineup and misses on his first 3-point attempts. Jacobs, a nice find. Stewart has had the hot hand. Tillman pulls the rebound. Hornbeak.
Well, the one thing that was difficult for USC last year was decision making. A lot of turnovers, when to make certain plays, and that's still an ongoing thing. But it looks here early that they're making better decisions.
Nikola Jovanovic to the free throw line and one.
You know, USC had 14 turnovers against San Diego, and some of those were late. As you take a look at McLaughlin dumping it off to Jovanovic. But completing plays just like that. Maybe last year that ball goes off his hands or it's at his feet and it's a turnover. Complete the plays that you're supposed to make. And if they do that, you know, USC has the talent to certainly be much better than 3-15 like they were in the conference last year.
A season ago, Jovanovic was kind of cast as the face of the franchise by default because the team was so young. And even though he improved in every category, it was perceived as a disappointing, lackluster year.
Well, and he had a good freshman year, too, so you expected a huge jump out of him, too. And the numbers were better, but not significantly better. But I think he's going to have a good year this year with McLaughlin at full strength.
How about your Lexus keys to the game, Don?
There you go. Limit turnovers. We're just talking about that. Monmouth got hot from behind the line against UCLA, and then you have a size advantage. UCLA really took advantage of Monmouth inside. USC's got to try and do the same.
A jab step from Jones, Deion Jones, who's a senior captain on this roster. The lone senior for the Hawks. Gets to the lane. Too strong off glass, but tipped up and in. Chris Brady, who started against UCLA, gets the bucket.
Well, they just need to stabilize the game. USC's given them a pretty good punch here early. They got to get some stops.
Speaking of lift, Juju Jacobs has plenty. Hornbeak, no numbers, but he takes it anyway. The Hawks love to run, and the Trojans, they'll go with anybody.
Well, and here's the thing. The toughness and the resiliency of Monmouth is another tip in. They were down the whole game against UCLA. They were down 13 in the second half and found a way to scratch and claw back into it. It eventually got it to overtime and won the game. So USC better be ready for 40. I don't care how big they build this lead. Monmouth's not going to go away.
Boatwright lost the handle. Jacobs still has 10 seconds to work with on the shot clock. McLaughlin, good up fake. Lets it go. Jordan McLaughlin, a soft touch.
The versatility of McLaughlin to play on the ball and off the ball. He is a good shooter.
Off the heel, Jovanovic pulls. McLaughlin leads the break for USC. Stops and pops. Heat check there. Jacobs had it blocked. And that'll send us to our first stoppage with USC in front, 15-8. The Trojans have hit 6 of their first 9. McLaughlin leaving it for Jovanovic. You're right. They picked up the first personal foul there on Boatwright. 16 fouls for each team now, so bonus the rest of the way. Robinson only 5'8", but he impacts the game in several ways. Matched up with McLaughlin. Here's a little floater using the glass.
Well, it got spread out, and if USC's going to do that 1-2-2 soft zone press, you got to come back and get matched up. The paint wide open. Robinson right down the middle of it.
Elijah Stewart with Boatwright, McLaughlin, Reinhardt, and Jovanovic, the 5 for USC. Still plenty of time left for Stewart. 10 on the timer, working against Tillman. A runner, tough.
That is a tough shot, especially over the top of a defender, but Stewart, again, so much lift. Makes it look easy.
Happy birthday, Elijah Stewart, by the way. Turned 20 over the weekend on Saturday. Robinson, so solid inside the lane.
At his size, too, JB. I mean, they list him at 5'8". He ain't 5'8", but he finds a way. And one of those guys probably that's always been told you can't because of his size. Well, guess what? He can.
Nikola Jovanovic earns another trip to the free throw line for USC. Still shooting better than 47% from the floor. Elijah Stewart.
Guys got an opportunity last year to play is what's going to benefit them. Then you sprinkle in a couple really good freshmen who hopefully as the year goes on figures it out. And you have a better team this year based on your experience from last year.
Jovanovic shooting 2 as we resume. He's now 2 of 3 at the line tonight. He's got a field goal as well, and it's back to a double-digit lead. Hornbeak and Robinson in the backcourt with James. Jones up front. This is Jalon Hornbeak. Mentioned he's an Oklahoma transfer. Played in a couple NCAA tournaments with the Sooners. Reinhardt, good up fake. Across the court, Julian Jacobs. USC let it fly at the Galen Center.
Well, you know what, though? The ball movement's good. It's not guys going on their own. They're getting it from one side of the court to the other, and they're getting good quality looks from behind the line.
Shooting 50% from the floor. A post feed to Zach Tillman. Back to the perimeter. Hawks can't answer, but they do pull an offensive rebound with Hornbeak.
Oh, that's the one area USC's got to clean up. They might get away with it tonight, but they got a defensive rebound. Too many for Monmouth here early.
4, in fact, for the visiting Hawks. As Boatwright gets all the way, and Jovanovic, another chance at a three-point play.
Neither team rebounding their own board here early. Boatwright Boatwright, you see he can handle it a little bit too. It's short, but Jovanovic right there for the stick back.
You know, it's funny, he was top 10 in the league in field goal percentage last year, but you alluded to it earlier. There was a catch and finish issue with Jovanovic, just a little bit sped up. And to think that if he cleans that up, he could be up closer to 60 than 50 this year.
Especially early in the season. He finally started to finish some of those plays mid to late part of the year. But early, yeah, he was missing shots that everybody in the building thought he would be making.
Tillman against Jovanovic. Puts that left shoulder down. Jacobs to the defensive glass. The guards rebounding well for USC. Julian Jacobs calls his own number.
There's another one of those. Not a great decision there. You can get that shot any time in the clock. No reason to take it early.
Good handle by Hornbeek. A challenge by the USC Trees. Tillman picks it up off the floor. Blocked by Elijah Stewart. They think he can be an all-league defensive player.
100%. He has the tools to be defensive player of the year. He really does. And last year, at least once a game, he'd make a play like that where he'd come out of nowhere to block a shot. And that's him using his athleticism, but a willing defender. And, yeah, if he commits to being or wants to be, JB, the best defensive player in the league, I have no doubt that he could be because of his tools.
You look at who won it last year, Gary Payton II, every bit as lengthy and athletic as Gary and more skilled offensively. What a finish by Deion Jones.
I would say maybe even a little more athletic than Gary Payton, Elijah Stewart. You know, it's different people tonight for Monmouth than it was the other night. But USC, if they want to get out and run, which is what they've talked about since Andy Enfield got here, and everyone talks about the style and getting out, well, you can't do that unless you get stopped. So you have to be sound defensively, if not really good defensively, if you want to be a running team. It's hard to run when you're doing this, taking it out of the net.
Boatwright picked up his second foul there. He leaves in favor of the lone senior for USC, Gavrilovic.
Didn't play a lot the other night because of foul trouble, too. Only 15 minutes for Boatwright.
A post feed for Jacobs. You mentioned the diminutive Justin Robinson on his back. Both teams in the bonus for the remainder of the half.
Why not? Jacobs, good size, take him down there. Robinson playing behind, couldn't do anything but reach around and try and poke that ball away.
Jacobs in the offseason had right wrist debridement surgery. That's his shooting wrist. Got some things cleaned up. Look at this counter. Hornbeek and the Hawks.
Well, and talking to the USC coaches before the game, that's one area too. Fouling too much. And again, how it's being officiated right now, it can be an equalizer for the other team if you're putting them on the line too much.
The 17 fouls combined already, just under 9 minutes to go first half. Jordan McLaughlin will return for Andy Enfield. Let's take a closer look at the Hawks out of West Long Branch, New Jersey. An enrollment just over 6,000. They play in the Metro Atlantic Athletic Conference. Third season in the league. Picked to finish second behind defending champ Iona.
Iona's got a potential first-round pick in A.J. English.
We'll see him in Corvallis tomorrow night. They'll be at Gill Coliseum on Pac-12 Network. Iona actually got a preseason top 25 vote. Stewart falling away. He has been lights out.
I love to see guys, JB, that have a pretty good freshman year, which he did, and then come back and look different and be better and make more shots. And you get the feeling Stewart's going to be that guy this year.
Jordan McLaughlin all go.
This is like an NBA play right here. Little hook. Little lean back on that jumper. That looked like a Pro 2 move right there.
His release not only looks pure, it looks like he has a ton of confidence, which, to your point, can only come from the reps he put in this summer.
Getting off to a good start in your first game like he did Friday night can give you some more confidence. But which team is going to figure out that they're calling this pretty tight tonight? You got to stop fouling. USC up 14. Don't stop the clock and let Monmouth creep their way back into this thing at the foul line. Guard without fouling.
That's true of Jelon Hornbeek, one of the Hawks' best players, who is now saddled with 3 fouls, just like he was a couple nights ago at UCLA.
Got to think about what you're doing, especially if you already have a foul or 2. You don't want to pick up that second or third. And we know that any hand checks, any hands they're calling, you got to really concentrate on the defensive end.
Seaborn with Reinhardt challenging. Deion Jones got to the offensive boards. His first bucket.
It's the first thing Andy Enfield's going to talk about at halftime, I'm sure.
They're only shooting at 32%. They did not shoot it well at UCLA the other night either, but second chance opportunities keeping them in it. Gavrilovic.
Well, it just shows you what turnovers do to a team. And they shot 37%, got out rebounded 60-37, and still won the game. Monmouth did. Still a little bit of decision making, but having McLaughlin back, Boatwright, Metu, they're better this year for sure. Let's see how much better they can get as time goes on.
They go zone here out of the timeout. 7.5 to go, opening half. 10 left on the timer for Justin Robinson. Gets around Elijah Stewart. Seaborn, skip pass. Stewart jabs and fires. Good block out, Jovanovic.
Sure, it was talked about at the timeout, right?
Defensive rebounding.
Yeah,
it's been the one weakness for USC.
Both teams playing zone.
Hard post from Jovanovic going up against Chris Brady at 6'10". Using the pivot foot beautifully. Nikola Jovanovic.
Spun back left shoulder, right hand finish. Good patience by Jovanovic in the paint.
3 of 3 from the floor in this opening half. Good ball rotation by the Hawks. They get a clean jumper out of it. Jones collects another chance. Robinson to Stewart. Collins Stewart.
Kind of a busted play, and they swing it around, and Stewart, we saw him do that the other night. Knocks down a 3 to pull within 12.
3 triples for Stewart against UCLA. Deep touch, Clark. Jovanovic had hands on it. Last touch by the Trojans.
I'm telling you, the toughness of these East Coast New Jersey kids. And I saw it the other night. They are not going away. I don't care what the score is. They're going to continue to fight. Clark gets it blocked.
Robinson pulls over Jacobs. Timeout Andy Enfield with the deficit cut to single digits.
Well, that's the goal. When you get LA, your kids get a chance to see UCLA Poly Pavilion, hang out in LA for a couple days, play USC, and then go home. You get 2 quality games. You get an experience in LA. Surprised more teams don't do the UCLA USC kind of 4-dayer.
If Monmouth has any more success here tonight, they're never going to be invited back.
That's right.
Jovanovic has been phenomenal.
I just like it when he's really aggressive because he has the talent. And last year I thought he started the season playing a bit tentatively. And now more aggressive, strong to the bucket, finishes the play.
Jordan McLaughlin picked up the foul, his first for USC, but it's a double bonus situation. I take it back. It's 1-1. The next foul will be the 2-shot penalty. Both these teams took international trips this summer. Monmouth went to China. USC 4-0 in Italy. Stanford also went to Italy from the Pac-12, and Australia for Cal.
Cal went to Australia. You can only do it once every 4 years, which I'm surprised at that. Me and Ted were talking about that the other night. I think if you have the budget for it, there shouldn't be any rules on, not being able to go once every 4 years. If you want to go every 2 years, it's a great bonding experience. You get 10 extra practices as a program.
Cultural exposure.
Yeah, I think it's a win for everyone.
McLaughlin, no. Clark on the glass, challenging 2 Hawks, came up empty. Here's the thing. Cal looks like they're in midseason form, I think in large part because they went and played some pro teams down under.
The coaches will tell you it's not the games, it's the 10 practices getting everybody up to speed. But I'm sure the competition of the games doesn't hurt either.
Seaborn hits a three and then has a look at the USC bench on his way back down the floor.
Telling you, they could be down 25 and they're still going to find a way to come back. Now a 2-possession game.
Elijah Stewart to Jacobs. Inside of 5 to go. Jacobs on the bounce.
This zone has been effective for Monmouth. Ever since they went to it, it seems like it slowed USC down a bit.
Great job, McLaughlin, to back up to the line, but couldn't put it through. 2-possession game, Monmouth with the ball. They're on a 13-2 burst. Robinson stepping back over Julian Jacobs.
I'm telling you, whatever it is he has is infectious for the whole team. When he decides he's going to make a play, it gives the rest of the team confidence, and they've come all the way back, only down 4.
Jovanovic. How about that range for Nikola Jovanovic? A career night.
Already.
5 for 5 from the floor. He's got 14 points. Robinson off a ball screen. Feeling it. Absolutely feeling it.
You better change your coverage, USC, because you're right, JB. He is feeling it.
Into double figures with 11. Jovanovic almost let another go. Needs help from Stewart. He steps to the line. A 3-point barrage going on at the Galen Center.
A lot of jumpers for USC the last 3, 4, 5 minutes. They were getting stuff in transition. They're not anymore.
Jones. 2-point game with 3 to play in the opening half.
I watched this the other night. It just happened to be in the second half, not the first half. Got momentum, started getting stops. Body language was terrific. And all of a sudden it was a game. We got the same thing going here tonight.
Enfield already took his first half timeout. He's trying not to have to stop it again. He has 3 Trojans at the scores table to check in. Darian Clark, no. Jacobs, yes.
There you go. They get in the paint, they score. I thought settling a little bit on the last few possessions, which allowed Monmouth to rebound and run out.
The Hawks have connected on their last 6 field goals. Deion Jones couldn't put it down, but he will be at the free throw line when we come back. The Hawks have rallied from down double digits. They're within 4.
Isn't that Monmouth has come back, it's that they're out rebounding USC. Tony Parker, I think you mentioned it earlier, JB, had his way with the Monmouth interior. 19 points, 19 rebounds, and UCLA kind of dominated inside. The rebounding I mentioned earlier was 60-37 in favor of UCLA, so I'm a little surprised that Monmouth is doing so well on the backboard against USC.
Also doing it at the line, a perfect 7 of 7 as a team. 2-point game, a little more than 2 minutes to go. Reinhardt's coming hard off of that screen.
Tough shot.
Gavrilovic battling for the board. Belongs to Deion Jones. 1v2. Deion Jones back to the line.
Seems like anytime Monmouth runs out, USC fouls in transition. They got to get better at that. Stopping, letting the other guys get back into play, and then guard. Anytime a Monmouth player, it doesn't matter who it is, has put their head down in transition, USC has fouled them.
Second personal on Elijah Stewart, who got the Trojans going with the hot hand early. We're going to have to keep an eye on foul trouble throughout our second half, both directions, based on the number of fouls.
Well, it would be disappointing for USC with how well they started to give up the lead going into halftime.
Deflating, huh?
Well, and we talked about how it must have been a confidence builder on Friday to take care of San Diego so easily. But when you're still a young team and a team that's incorporating some new players and you're searching for confidence, things like that matter. You know, losing the lead at halftime after you had a double-digit lead in the first half.
Tied for the first time tonight at 41. Metu. One dribble to the baseline. He earns a trip and puts a foul on Chris Brady. Our first personal on Brady. Both teams well beyond the double bonus penalty.
It's like we're in for a 50-piece foul-wise tonight.
22 combined, so yes, we're setting the pace. Just allowing for that LA traffic to die down for you before you drive home tonight. Don? Just leaving there, this is an interesting story. Pierre Sarr, a freshman from Senegal, ruled eligible by the NCAA Friday morning, so he hopped on a plane, made it to LA in time to get to the team hotel when the Hawks arrived from beating UCLA.
Yeah. That's another thing. Don't get me started on the NCAA and their clearinghouse and eligibility. I mean, way too many examples.
Jones, a hard take, went up and under. Oh, my goodness.
Every time he's caught it on the baseline tonight, whether it's been man or zone for USC, he has taken the baseline and tried to make something happen. And that time, a spectacular finish, using the rim, going to the other side, and getting the foul.
There was a Metro Atlantic Athletic Conference sports report. This would be a 12 best nominee.
Yeah, it would be on there for sure. How do you know there's not?
The Mike and Ashley of New Jersey.
The Metro Atlantic doesn't have their own network like we do.
Our friends at Watch ESPN televise their home games. Hey, USC trails for the first time this season, 44-42.
Well, the game has definitely slowed down, become more of a half-court game for USC. Let's see if they can respond.
The Trojans led by as many as 16, and Jacobs will get 2 free throws.
I mean, that's a perfect example of what I was saying earlier, not concentrating when you're playing defense. I mean, that is a obvious foul that they're going to call. And if I'm USC and Monmouth isn't going to pay attention to kind of what they're doing defensively, I'm going to drive every time and go straight to the line.
Penalty is such a big part of the NBA game, too, Don, where you played. You had to know when your team was in the penalty, right? You adjust the way you play defense?
And just the way you play offense.
Now you're saying Jacobs, knowing that he's going to get 2 shots at the line if
I'm
he
putting my
gets
head
hit
down.
Yeah.
And you know what? If I don't get the hand check, then I can always pull it back out. But I'm going for the quick hand check, try and get a cheap foul and get 2 free throws.
The Hawks have hit their last 7 from the floor to take a 1-point lead after trailing by 16. Deion Jones, a big part of this comeback. USC sends a second defender his way. 5 left to let it go. To the top. James deflected. And it's going USC's way. Maybe their best defensive possession of the half.
More active, a little more engaged, communicating, and they get the stop.
8 first half turnovers for Monmouth. We'll hit the minute mark here.
1 minute left in the first half.
Jacobs. Julian Jacobs all the way in.
Well, that's too easy. And regardless of the hand check or not, just a simple dribble handoff. He turns the corner and goes right down the lane for an easy layup.
Jacobs with 8 points. Elijah Stewart 9. Jovanovic 14 in this opening half for USC. They also get a 2-for-1 on that Jacobs lay-in, and they foul along to jump shooter and Robinson.
That was going to be a difficult shot no matter what. Bailed him out with the foul. I mean, there's 2 defenders there. Just get a hand up. You don't have to block it. It's tempting, though, JB, when you see the 5'7", 5'8" guys. You think that you can get their shot, but Robinson's got a pretty quick release, got it away, and Gavrilovic hit him on the elbow.
Reminder, our State Farm halftime report with Guy Haberman is coming up. All the latest from across the conference in college basketball. Robinson has staked the Hawks to a 46-45 lead. Just a couple of second differential between shot clock and game clock. We'll see if the Trojans can get the last. No more 5 seconds on the closely guarded dribble, so that works in McLaughlin's favor here. Backdoor Reinhardt from Jacobs.
Great execution, great delivery by Jacobs.
A timeout Monmouth. They have a use it or lose it, and they'll burn it here to set up the final possession.
Screens, but it's good to be versatile, and that's why Jacobs has played a lot, because he can play different positions and do different things.
Robinson crossing over on Jacobs. Right-handed lifts. McLaughlin has time to let it go from half court. And after leading by 16 at one point.
Hurt USC or lack thereof, just that's what happened as well. It turned into a half-court game offensively for USC, and they weren't as good.
Hawks with the opening possession. Robinson with the basketball and 13 points. He's got Hornbeak in the backcourt with him. Stepping into a triple. Pretty shot. Micah Seaborn, one of 3 Hawks in double figures at UCLA.
Yeah, he was big in the run they made in the second half on Friday night. Let's see if Hornbeak can get it going, too. Second game in a row, he's gotten into early foul trouble.
Extra pass, Jacobs from McLaughlin. Takes the contact and converts.
Well, again, being interchangeable, Jacobs and McLaughlin, hard to keep track of them. You know, when it's always one guy bringing it up, you kind of know where people are. But sometimes McLaughlin brings it, sometimes Jacobs. Jacobs gets free on the baseline that time.
First foul on Jones, and Jacobs joins Jovanovic in double figures for the Trojans. Seaborn leaves it for Jones, stepping inside the line.
He wasn't a big factor the other night at UCLA, but obviously he is tonight. 17 already.
He is a 1,000-point scorer, including his time at Townsend before transferring after his freshman year. McLaughlin answers for USC.
Well, they figured out that zone. First possession along the baseline. That time, walk-in 3 for McLaughlin.
Here's another walk-in 3. This one a bit flat. Tillman battling on the boards. Jovanovic tips it to McLaughlin. J-Mac able to shake off the contact from Hornbeak. And he gets all the way to the rim. But there's an example. What's Hornbeak doing reaching in with 3 fouls in the backcourt to begin a second half?
Not necessary. And especially when you're going to let McLaughlin get all the way to the front of the rim. You're better off just squaring him up in front and stopping his penetration. But those are plays, you know, when you watch the film, drive coaches nuts. You know, think about what you're doing, time and score for yourself. You got 3 fouls. You just can't do it.
And when you put them in for the second half, you say, hey, you're playing with 3. Get to the under 16 timeout without fouling. A whistle, a lane violation against USC before the McLaughlin free throw.
Did he pump fake that, or what happened?
No,
Did it look like McLaughlin kind of hitched it before he went? He stepped over the line.
Now +3 on the scoreboard. Jones refuses the ball screen. Looked like he shoved off on Jacobs. Now,
that looked like Jacobs was in very good position, and his hands were up, so it can't be a hand check.
We've been instructed that each player, offensive and defensive, is entitled to his cylinder, and that time Jones invaded Jacobs' space, not the other way around.
Sometimes officials anticipate the play instead of calling the play.
They switch on that screen, and Boatwright could not hang with Micah Seaborn.
He's a nice player. Had to sit out last year, didn't qualify, but off to a good start. You know, some guys, it takes them some time to get incorporated into the game, having sitting out a year. Not Seaborn. He played well the other night, continuing here tonight.
Catch and shoot, J-Mac. Front iron. And it goes back to the Hawks, who will have a chance to retake the lead.
Just good individual offense, but where's the help at the rim? Nobody home for USC on the back line.
Caton Reinhardt checks in. So Boatwright, Jovanovic, and Elijah Stewart, along with Reinhardt and McLaughlin for USC. Hornbeak and Seaborn went to high school together. They're playing alongside Justin Robinson for the Hawks.
Well, all Monmouth is doing is dribble, drive, and then look to kick out and move the defense as Boatwright takes it to the rim and scores. But how do you let the leading scorer of the other team get loose and score? I mean, he is wide open, and that wasn't anything fancy offensively other than, again, dribble, drive, kick out. And Robinson knocks it down. USC's got to be better communicating and more engaged defensively.
Boatwright leaves the three-point play at the line. But a foul against Hornbeek is his fourth, and it gives USC a new possession.
Being disciplined. Hornbeek, disappointing trip to L.A. for him.
Amazing that they've won one of those contests, and they're right in the thick of another one without him. Boatwright looking for a 2-bucket trip, comes up empty.
Even though he didn't play a lot of minutes, Hornbeek, the other night, he was a factor in the second half and overtime.
Jones leads all scores with 17. Still plenty on the timer for Robinson as he takes the on ball. Tillman on rotation. Jones passes on the first, drives on Boatwright, takes the contact and earns a trip to the line.
It's at the point now tonight where if you drive, you're probably going to shoot free throws. And this wasn't a hand check foul. This was just a regular foul up top.
I don't see that as a foul. I really don't.
I don't either. And the reason I said that is the officials are calling it really, really tight, but players aren't being smart either. It's a little bit of both.
We're going to get down to the walk-ons at this rate. 31 fouls between the teams combined as Boatwright leaves. Largest lead at just 2 for Monmouth, and they can expand it with the Jones free throw. Jovanovic instead rebounds.
Well, the one thing, JB, and I don't want to get into it again, but the discrepancy in number of fouls called game to game. It's this game I'm watching isn't any more or less physical than the game I watched last night, and there's triple the fouls called in this one. That's what I don't understand.
Here's a giveaway. Robinson leads the break. Throws it over to Josh James. Skip pass. Off the mark, Micah Seaborn. McLaughlin on the counter. Pulls up at the free throw line and collects his own.
Good decision to back it out. Took a rip at it from the pull-up jumper at the foul line. Got the rebound. Now let's run some offense.
Stewart, that's definitely a freedom of motion.
But he's looking at the
foul.
referee like, I can't believe it's a foul. As much success as Dean Smith had and coached as many good players as he did, you're going to see lists like that.
ECU goes to Berkeley this year. I think they're going to play Cal in the Pac-12 network. Just a few days away. Jacobs looking for the skip pass. Stewart had a hand on it. Reinhardt throws down to Clark, who's pinned.
Great recovery by the Monmouth defense. It looked like Clark was going to get an easy layup there.
Josh James rotates it over to Tillman. Austin Tillman, a sophomore with limited minutes so far tonight. Hands off Stewart with single digits left on the shot clock. Blocked. Metu. Jones has to hustle. Great take. Dion Jones.
Well, everybody relaxed on USC. It was a good block by Metu, and everyone else just stopped, and it allowed Monmouth to score, but USC just watching.
Clark splits 2, leaves it for Jacobs. Boy, I thought he had a clean look with the right. He double clutched and got it blocked.
He probably should have. You're right. He probably should have stayed with the right hand. Let's take a look at it. Maybe.
Not sure he had the handle fully on the way up, too. And his defense now needs help on the inbound. That's a quick 5.
That's a team turnover, though. It was a quick 5, but how is nobody open on a regular baseline out of bounds? It's not like we're in a late game situation here.
10 turnovers for Monmouth, 9 now for USC. 1 point gain inside of 12 to go. Could the Hawks possibly sweep 2 Pac-12 teams on opening weekend? They got a shot.
They believe they can. Tell you that.
Stewart not spinning. He got tripped. That's got to be something. Even if inadvertent, that's advantage, disadvantage, big time. USC gets away with it, though. It'll be their basketball when we come.
Of this one coming down the home stretch.
At both ends, because Dion Jones has 18 and Justin Robinson has 16 in the backcourt for Monmouth.
Monmouth back to man-to-man.
Jacobs running the point on this trip. Elijah Stewart has quieted since his monstrous first half. 8 to shoot. Jacobs against Jones. Gets to the baseline. Tough bounce pass stolen away. Tillman challenging Reinhardt. Monmouth matches the largest lead.
Well, that's a perfect example of good defense leading into easy offense. Great, good stop down the other way.
Reinhardt tried to get it right back. Jones, a throw ahead. Tillman. Elijah Stewart. Ooh, didn't have to be. Did not have to be. He got plenty of ball.
He is so athletic. Yeah. Well, Tillman was out of control a little bit too. The ball, he's losing the ball. But just for Stewart to be able to go up and get that at his size just shows you how athletic he is.
USC fans saying ball don't lie, I'm sure, as Stewart checks out. Still a long way to go, and foul trouble is going to factor into this one way or another. 3 personals on Elijah Stewart as Austin Tillman shoots the seconds. Missed them both.
I have a feeling that you said foul trouble may factor in, free throws may factor into the outcome of this one. It did the other night, Monmouth UCLA. Monmouth made theirs, UCLA didn't.
The visitors were at 93% until those 2 empties. McLaughlin to the baseline. Jacobs with 7. Good ball movement here for USC. McLaughlin pays it off.
It was good ball movement. What happens is the defense starts shifting. You get them out of position, then you can drive it like McLaughlin did there. Got the easy floater.
They're daring Tillman to take that 3. Jones from just off the elbow. Jacobs pulls it. USC looking for the lead halfway home in the seconds.
This is where that decision making we were talking about in the first half is really critical.
Jacobs probing. Jovanovic.
Okay. Off the window, little off balance. He'll take it.
16 for Nikola Jovanovic, and USC back in front. James coming downhill. A tough handle for the post. A steal for McLaughlin.
Speaking of not great decisions.
Jordan McLaughlin, coast to coast.
You know, he is not super athletic, but he's smart. He's crafty. He makes shots. That one off rhythm, off leg, able to get it to go down.
And like any good guard, he can contort his body and still put it up softly.
Interesting. Monmouth running the shot clock down.
Go 4 flat across the free throw line. 5 left. Not in a good spot here. Stewart. Oh, bails him out.
Wow. He's had 2 or 3 wide open ones that he couldn't get to go down. That one contested at the end of the clock. And splash. Big shot for Monmouth.
Reinhardt reusing that Jovanovic screen. Tremendous 2-man game between Reinhardt and Jovanovic.
Take a look at Stewart. Look at this. Good defense by Jacobs. Just a better shot by Stewart. And I hope that's what this game turns into, JB, down the stretch, is guys making plays to win the game and not a procession to the free throw line.
So far, only USC in the bonus. 17 fouls on the Hawks, 5 on USC. Doing much better in that respect than we were in our first 20 minutes. These last 2 trips, Jovanovic has come alive again. He's 7 of 8 from the floor, but leaves one at the line. Stuck on 18 to lead USC.
Continually switching defenses, both teams. USC now in man-to-man.
Hornbeak is back in the game, playing with 4 fouls. Puts one on Jacobs. That's his 4th. A 16 foul on USC. So on the next whistle, Monmouth will be in the bonus. Benny Boatwright returns for Andy Enfield to give Jacobs a rest.
Again, concentrating on your individual defense. No hands, keep them in front without fouling.
Seaborn lost it. Elijah Stewart breaks out, weaving through traffic and fouled from behind. A 1-on-1 situation here for Elijah Stewart.
Got to stop. There hasn't been a lot of transition in the second half. But when there has been, USC's gotten it down the court and usually got something good out of it. That time, Stewart gets fouled from behind. He goes to the line.
Enfield going a little offense-defense here with Boatwright playing through 4 fouls as well. He brings Darian Clark into the contest at the defensive end as Stewart hits the front end.
8:17 to go. You don't usually see it this early.
You don't often see 3 players across 2 teams saddled with 4 fouls at the 8-minute mark either. I think we got to go to 6 in college basketball, but that's just a personal preference.
I agree.
Robinson at the wing.
But then I get the feeling there'd just be more fouls called then.
Great find in Jones. Dion Jones.
How good has he been tonight?
Exceptional. Back to a 1-possession game. Reinhardt dips inside.
And back to zone for Monmouth.
J-Mac off balance.
Wow.
On target.
That was a pro shot right there. Seen a couple of those tonight where the NBA plays.
Over the top. Robinson on the return pass from Hornby.
I'm telling you, JB, they did this Friday night. Every time it looked like USC was going to stretch the lead out, they would answer every single time. They're doing it again here tonight.
Stewart puts it down. That's 5 on Hornbeak. He's gone, and that's goaltending.
Just complete.
Ooh, they put the foul on Diego Quinn, and I'm not sure that's correct. We'll have to take it
in, too. I don't think that ball was going in, and the goaltend gives Stewart 3-point play opportunity.
They've missed a few opportunities to expand this lead. That is offensive all the way. McLaughlin anticipated, stepped in front of Robinson.
Good guess by McLaughlin. Tough call either way, man.
Enfield continues to go offense-defense with Benny Boatwright. He's back in for this offensive possession, playing with 4 fouls himself. This is a win if USC can get it. That might get better with time. This is a team that could compete for the MAC title. Reinhardt, back iron. Jovanovic, a second chance. USC will keep it with a new shot clock.
You know, it's really disappointing. I was thinking about this today. Monmouth, you know, let's say they beat UCLA and they even beat USC. It's not like it helps their NCAA tournament resume. No. They still have to win their conference tournament no matter what they do in the non-con.
King Rice said as much at shoot-around today. It's not even about winning their regular season conference. Right. As Boatwright misses, they have to be at their best in the league tournament.
Yep.
Extra pass to the hot hand, Dion Jones, who passes for now. Stewart and Robinson with him in the backcourt. All the way in this near side corner, it's Micah Seaborn.
It's really interesting that Monmouth's been content to run the clock down in the second half.
Reinhardt gave Robinson the cushion to let fly from the top. USC a 3-point lead and the basketball. McLaughlin weaving through. Nice. Soft touch, put it up on the rim.
Man, is he good at that. He's making those shots look a lot easier than they are.
That's a block on Boatwright, and that is 5 on the USC freshman.
Take another look at McLaughlin's bucket. Off leg, off rhythm. Just puts it right up on the front of the rim. And is that the right basketball play by Benny Boatwright? You know you have 4. We're getting late. Should you step in?
I think that's the right call. Could have been a no call.
I think it's the right call. I'm asking if it's the right decision by Benny Boatwright to step in there. Probably not, because we know block charge is the hardest call to make in basketball, you're putting yourself at risk of picking up your fifth foul and not being able to play the rest of the game.
Putting your fate in the referee's hands on a night that they have called it extremely tight. Seaborn hits the first of two. Tillman back in for Quinn on the Hawks side. So USC going small here with Elijah Stewart effectively playing the four. Jacobs, Reinhardt, and McLaughlin in the backcourt around Jovanovic, the five-man.
Again, Monmouth answers. Still a one-possession game. USC's got to understand, JB, that they're going to have to finish this, that there's still a lot of work to do to win this one.
And in some respects, this is a great early test for them because that was easily the soft spot of last year's team, finishing games.
That's right.
Cannot finish this trip offensively. Seaborn breaks out. That's a double dribble, and they missed it. Skip pass to Stewart. Drives baseline. Jovanovic met him there.
Great verticality by Jovanovic. Straight up. No call.
Well done by Vern Harris, the official. He signaled verticality, just what you said. Jovanovic sets the pick for Reinhardt. Gets it back on the roll. Nikola Jovanovic will shoot two.
Well, USC can't even be thinking right now, we got the lead, let's use clock. The clock's a non-issue right now. You got to keep playing, and great job by Jovanovic to not only stop that penetration by Stewart, but to get the ball, too.
Free throw struggles continue. USC now 12 of 20 at the stripe. Jovanovic working on a double-double, 18 points, 10 boards. 1 out of 2.
Is that enough to get it done?
Robinson against McLaughlin. Stewart. Back to Robinson. Still plenty left. He lets it go over McLaughlin. One possession game, 5 minutes left.
Well, they've been running the shot clock down. That time they didn't, and there was plenty of time left. But Robinson, a difficult contested three, knocks it down.
He's 3 off his career high. Against the Monmouth zone. Jacobs probing. Threw it up for himself. I'm not sure he had any intention of making that shot so much as rebounding it.
I think once he left it left his hand, he knew it wasn't going in for sure.
McLaughlin will take the on-ball foul on a hard tip. And they'd be coming out here to play USC. They wanted a double dip in the Pac-12. Robinson at the free throw line as we resume. He put 4 fouls on McLaughlin before that timeout.
This is year 5 for King Rice, and he feels like he's got a group that, and we've talked about it, that can compete for the Metro Atlantic this year, get back to the NCAA tournament. But they've obviously started their season really well.
3 ties, 8 lead changes in this second half. Jacobs coming downhill. Oh, with the left, Julian Jacobs.
He makes one of those plays a game, doesn't he? Similar to how we talk about Stewart on the defensive end. Jacobs offensively, it seems like, makes one of those a game.
This time Robinson assisting. Chris Brady back within 2. Jacobs again, a right-handed drive. Got it back. Julian Jacobs to Reinhardt. Bam!
Julian Jacobs, 2 possessions in a row, making it happen for USC.
Three minutes to go. Robinson can't answer. Jacobs wants to push.
You should back it out. There you go. Good decision. Got a 5-point lead now. No hurry. Use some clock, run some offense.
Massive possession here for USC to create some separation. Elijah Stewart coming alive late.
You see what the 3 ball can do for teams. Reinhardt, then Stewart, all of a sudden an 8-point game. Timeout Monmouth.
Stewart with 19, Jovanovic with 19, McLaughlin with 19.
Plays and you get beat. They're making the plays and pushing the lead out.
Robinson probing. Nice find, Stewart. Colin Stewart passing on it. Just a bump from Jovanovic and a bonus situation. That'll be the 10th team foul on USC, so a 2 free throw opportunity for Monmouth.
Tough call on Jovanovic. And Stewart's got to be ready to go on that weak side. He had enough room if he was ready to catch and go. But I think he's maybe lost a little bit of confidence tonight because he hasn't seen 3 balls go down.
The Hawks have stayed in this with their free throw shooting, but Stewart misses the first of 2.
He's 2 of 6. One of those contested at the end of the shot clock. Don't need 3s right now if you're Monmouth, but they would sure help. Need stops is what you need if you're Monmouth.
They'll bring James back in to replace Stewart defensively. How about if you're USC? What do you want offensively on this trip, Don?
Well, good first available. Don't need to run the shot clock down, but you're not in any hurry either. Maybe something inside, try and get to the foul score or get to the foul line. Don't need 3s, but you'll take them if they're there.
Jacobs takes the on ball, turns the corner, and just what you asked for. Getting inside, getting to the free throw line with Julian Jacobs, the junior from Vegas.
That high ball screen they've used a lot tonight. Where was that foul?
It's the 3rd on Zach Tillman.
Break for USC there.
Jacobs, who began his junior season with an 11.7 rebound performance against San Diego, backing it up with even more scoring tonight.
47 fouls called tonight.
And 1:55 to play. Robinson leaves it for Jones.
Probably need to get going now if you're Monmouth down 9.
Look at the handle on Robinson. Blocked by Jovanovic. Arriving in support of Jacobs.
Jacobs has got to back off him a little bit more. If he wants to shoot a 3, that's fine. But you don't want to foul him and put him on the line when he tries to drive.
That's too easy off the baseline under, and Stewart makes it count.
I don't think you start the foul game yet. I think if you're Monmouth, you want to get a stop here, then you got to go quick the other way.
Look at the ball fake from Stewart. Or McLaughlin, excuse me. He'll get a pair here with a 92-86 lead for USC. Our Barbasol Close Shave player of the game, Jordan McLaughlin, with 19 points on 7 of 15.
Could have been there was a few candidates tonight for this, but McLaughlin tied for the lead in scoring with 19, 6 rebounds, 4 assists. Off to a really good start to this, his sophomore season after off-season shoulder surgery on both shoulders.
Had the labral repair on his right shoulder in late February and then his left in March. Let's hope that that's the end of the shoulder injuries for McLaughlin, who also had one at the end of his high school career.
Doesn't look like there's any effect. That's for sure.
He wouldn't be driving downhill as hard as he is getting to the backboard if he didn't feel like they were both solid.
And even just something as simple as shooting a jump shot, too. You know, if it wasn't right, you'd be off or it'd have some pain or something. But he looks really good.
Enfield told us before the game he's been hitting it hard in the weight room. Robinson shook Reinhardt, a quick 2.
Well, you can't have that if you're USC. They use 0 o'clock and they get an easy deuce.
Elijah Stewart comes to get it from Reinhardt. Gets a step on Seaborn. Jacobs running some clock here. 1 minute mark.
No 5-second closely guarded.
Drops it off. Reinhardt. Great use of the dribble to free himself for two.
That was interesting, though. I felt like Julian Jacobs forgot that there's no 5-second closely guarded, and he had to move. You don't have to now. You can stand there and dribble out the entire clock if you want.
Monmouth definitely has to foul after that miss, and they do a double bonus situation. McLaughlin and the Trojans can feel it. The USC, if they can sink these free throws, in great position for a 2-0 start, with New Mexico arriving at the Galen Center next.
This is a good win. And we started off the game tonight saying that no one expected this to be a good game maybe a month ago, but Monmouth is a very good team, a very good mid-major team, and they gave USC everything they wanted after upsetting UCLA on Friday night.
4 different Trojans with 19-plus points tonight, paced by Jordan McLaughlin at 21. Elijah Stewart will have a couple of free throws to join the 20-point club as well.
Well, you like the fact that it's balanced. You know, it wasn't just one guy going off for 37. You got multiple guys. Makes you harder to guard. The decision-making, which was the biggest problem for USC last year, seems to be better. Players are understanding shot selection a little bit better. That makes you more efficient offensively and allows you to win close games.
Seaborn has to go quickly. Feed to Stewart. Jovanovic pulls it down, and that should all but do it. This is huge early in the season. In fact, at the back end of the opening weekend, for USC to be in a battle late and to feel what it's like to execute down the stretch and come away with a narrow victory.
It's all, listen, when you go 12-20 the year before, anything positive to build your confidence is good. Good win to open Friday night. Good solid win here tonight against a much better team, Monmouth, than San Diego was, but feel good about winning this game. And it just keeps building and building, not only individually but collectively.
1 out of 2 for Jovanovic. So McLaughlin 21, Stewart 20, Jovanovic 20 to lead the way in the scoring column for SC. McLaughlin smashed.
See, the game's over, right? And you hate to see this. There's no reason for Monmouth to come foul. Just let them play it out.
How about USC cracking the century mark, shooting 51% tonight. They could be at 110 if they had shot at a 70% free throw clip too, probably.
Good point.
That man right there knew how to shoot free throws in his playing days. I'm sure he'll go to work on this group. But a feel-good start to the season for USC, 2-0, and they see a New Mexico team Saturday 7:30 that they beat at the pit last year, something teams rarely do.
Yeah, but New Mexico wasn't right last year. I haven't completely done my work on that game yet, but they had a down year for them.
There was no fluke, 66-54 the final last year in Albuquerque. Jordan McLaughlin with 22 to pace Troy. Still a great trip for Monmouth. They get a win over UCLA, a memory that these Hawks will never forget, inside Pauley Pavilion, and they play USC to the wire.
And no doubt a positive trip for Monmouth, even though they didn't win tonight, but a positive night tonight for USC. Shot it well, executed down the stretch, and got a good quality